What's going on, y'all? Yes, sir. You know I had to do it. It's your boy, KCFL, King Self for Life Wrestling Takes. Here to give you my review for this episode of Impact Wrestling. Well, you know I had to talk about it since my boy Kenny Omega is on the show. And I'm going to dissect everything. This show, there's a lot of stuff that went down on the show. So I tried to take the best notes I can. If there's anything I left out, my bad. But they opened the show talking about what transpired on AEW. Don Callis, as we all know, is a commentator for Impact Wrestling. I think he also had part ownership of Impact Wrestling, if I'm not mistaken. But everybody knows him and Kenny Omega is tight, so you knew everybody's figuring, well, he just said to support his dude. But it turns out he was there to actually help him win the championship. And then he said, well, you want to really know what's going on? Tune in Tuesday night because we'll tell you exactly what's going on. Now, let me tell y'all something. Is Impact Wrestling the best? No. But you know what? I'm liking exactly what they're doing, what they're trying to do, especially right now with the pandemic, because it's pretty obvious as you see there's nobody in the audience. But I'm gonna go down the list on what went down on the show. Like I said, it was a lot of stuff that went down, so it's a lot I gotta cover. So we kicked the show off with one of the members of the North, Josh Alexander, and he took on one of the members of Motor Machine Gun, Chris Sabin. Now this match was pretty decent. It was a lot of distractions that was basically going on because you had both members from each group standing outside in a partner's corner. And as the match got towards the end, I think the dude name that's in the group with Josh Alexander is Ethan Payne. He told him to do something, and they threw him off guard, and Chris Sabin got the pin. So, like I said, a pretty decent match. Wasn't the best, but it was a decent match. So now then they started talking about Kenny Omega and Don Callis. They had a big old tour bus that was basically pulled up and sitting there the whole episode, just sitting there chilling. So Josh Matthews was talking with Madison Brain, saying that he gets the opportunity to interview both of them and he can't wait. But he was very confused as to why the heck is Kenny Omega even here in the first place. You know what I'm saying? So let's move on. So then we catch Chris Bay and Moose up in the locker room because later tonight in the main event it's a tag team match with Moose and Chris Bay versus Willie Mack and the World Heavyweight Champion himself, Rick Swan, Impact Champion. Now listen, y'all, let me tell you something. I'm gonna talk about when I get to that match. I'm going to talk about what I am very proud of Impact about. But I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later. But as the two of them was in the locker room talking, Chris Bay, with his finessing self, talking about, hey man, you ain't said a word to me. Like, we supposed to be tag team partners. Like, what's going on? Moose finally said something. He said, listen, I talk with my fist. And if you keep talking, my fist gonna be in your face. He said, well, okay. He said, you keep talking because after Saturday, when I win the Impact World Heavyweight Championship, then what you gonna do about it? He said, well, my fist will see you on Saturday, something like that. So we move on. Tony Khan shows up, him and Tony Schiavone, and they start talking about how what's going on with Kenny Omega showing up. And he said, actually, I'm actually down with this, and I'm actually here paying for the sponsorship also to help Impact out. And he also said, who knows, maybe I might even buy Impact. He put that out there in the forefront to let you know what's about to transpire. So I believe this is a good partnership that's going on with Impact. Don't know where we're going with this, but I'm very excited to see what's going to transpire. So after that, we move on to Brian Myers. Brian Myers, formerly known as Kurt Hawkins, used to be in the WWE. Y'all might know him as the dude. He was one of Edge's stunt doubles with Zack Ryder. But then he tried to do his own thing and became the man to lose over a gazillion matches. That's what his gimmick was. Just keep losing and losing and losing. Well, it's good to see him, and he went against TJP. Now, as they was talking on commentary, TJP has been into the X Division title picture, but apparently because he lost to the Indian cat, they got a Rajah, right? I don't know how to say his name. He's not allowed to go against. He's not allowed to win the title as long as Rajah or whatever his name has the Tampa Championship. So they battled each other, but Brian Myers gets the victory. So after the match, TJP is in the back, and then the X Division champion walks up to him and say, "Hey, let me tell you something, man. This has been my year. This hasn't really been your year." and as long as I got the title, you can't get this championship or something. And so dude is in the match because matter of fact, there's a pay-per-view on Saturday night for you Impact cats who watch Impact. Tune in on live on the network. Final Resolution. He's in a match. It's called the Death Final Match or something. I'm getting the name mixed up, but I don't even know who he's going against. But the X Division title is on the line. Well, right before he walked off, TJP told him good luck. He just wished him good luck. I don't even know what that means, but we move on. So next, before then, we got the Demons talking with one another. Now it's been this ongoing beef that's been going on with Eric Young and Cody Deaner. But apparently they've been tight. They used to be tight back in the day. But when Eric Young came back, he thought Eric Young was gonna be cool. But Eric Young has been beating the brakes off him ever since. So he made a match with Eric Young, and he wanted to tell his cousin, which is cousin Jake. He said, "Listen, man, look, I need to do this by myself. I don't want you out there or nothing like that." But cousin Jake said, "No, man, I need to be in your corner." He said, "All right, cool." But he said, "Whatever happened to me, don't do nothing." Well, you should already know what happened. Eric Young beat him up like 1, 2, 3 matches over. Then Eric Young's partner, I forgot the other guy's name, basically was jumping him, and then he tried to get in there. They both was getting jumped, and as they getting jumped, Rhino comes out to try to save the day as they always do. So next, now I remember watching Impact maybe a couple weeks ago, and this dude named Johnny Bravo got shot, and nobody actually knows who did it. Well, they apparently they defined a suspect, and I forgot the dude's name, Larry Drew or something like that. But Larry Drew claims that he was set up. Well, Johnny and Tommy Dreamer were talking, and there he was. He walked up to the man, and he had told him, he said, "Man, you should be in jail right now." He said, "Man, look, I was set up, man. Look, he said, you tripping, bro. You out of your mind. You done lose, you tripping." So he said this. He said, "Listen, check this out. Let's have a match at the show. We're going to have a match at the Final Resolution." And he said this. He said, "If you were able to beat me, then I'm going to jail. But," he said, "if I win, my name is cleared." So I don't know if we're gonna come to get to the bottom of who really did shoot Johnny Bravo, but that's the storyline that's going on with that. So and right then, right after that, Tommy Dreamer goes to talk with the boss. Now I remember the dude. I remember he used to be a part of when Impact was called TNA back in the day. He was the main dude in the Canadian group. I forgot his name. I think his name was Scott. I think, but he was the main dude. Well, now he's running Impact now. So he went to go talk to him. And Tom Dream was like, he's like, "Hey man, what you want?" He said, "Look, man, I'm concerned." He said, "What? Concerned about what? The dude shot in the head?" "No, man, I'm concerned about Kenny Omega." He said, "This is not good." He said, "With Kenny coming through here," I'm like, first of all, what does he even want? I'm like, I've been a part of something like this before. And he said, "I don't want this. I don't want this where it could go." And he's talking about a wrestling war between Impact and AEW because he remember he was a part of the wrestling war with ECW, WCW going against WWF, which they turned into WWE at the time. And so he told him, he said, "Man, don't even worry about it, man." He said, "We're going to get to the bottom of it and all that crazy stuff." So now we get to the ladies. So apparently there's a semis match going on because now they got the knockout tag team titles that's back in the picture. So they've been having all these girls go at it. Well, they had the knockouts champion Deanna Perosa and her friend Kimberly take on Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary. And whoever wins, they get to move on to the semifinals as we move closer for who's going to win those Impact Knockouts Tag Team Champions. Well, Rosemary gets the victory, and they move on. So Taya and Rosemary are moving on. So then we cut to the back. Now I don't know Eddie. I forgot Eddie's last name. I don't know his wife's name, but I do remember Emma. Well, apparently they was tight, but she was getting on their case, and there was another dude that was standing there. She was getting on their case because they went out there trying to protect Eddie from getting beat up by Sammy Callahan and Ken Shamrock. So obviously they're not at good terms, so she walked off and everything. So then next thing you know, we see Deanna Peraza and Kimberly, they yelling at each other, screaming, talking about, it's your fault. We don't know it's your fault. So then they walk into the boss again. And then she said, you know what? You've been a thorn in my side all this time. You got me going to all these crazy matches. You got me wrestling against dead people and weird cats and all this stuff because you don't like me with this championship. But let me guess what? I'm still the Impact Knockouts champion, and you can't do nothing about it. And he said, well, you know what? Since you coming to me talking, I got a match with you. At Final Resolution, you're going to go against the girl who just pinned you, Rosemary. So Rosemary gets the title shot at Final Resolution on this Saturday live on the network. So more than likely Deanna's going to retain, but that's that. So then we get Sami Callihan coming out there cutting the promo, talking about he's the reason why people tune in to Impact. He said that he's the best draw. When he was the Impact World Champion, everybody was watching, but he said ain't nobody watching now. But you know, he talked about this. He said, "Well, I'm tired of Eddie. What man? Eddie Edwards." He said, "I'm tired of Eddie Edwards always sticking his nose in my business. Listen, if he comes again, I'm going to take him out and put him out permanently for good." So as he's talking, cutting his promo, doing all this little goofy stuff, Eddie Edwards' wife comes out. I don't know her name. She comes out there and she says, listen, you're not going to do this. You're not going to get away with this. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And he said, girl, please, listen. He said, if you even get in this ring with me, I'm going to break your neck. So she looked like she was finna get in there. Eddie came out the woodwork, tried to beat the brakes off of him. He did put his hand on his, he knocked him down. He put his foot on his hand where he had the bat. He got the bat out of his hand, but he was able to escape. You know how the Cowardly Heel does. The Cowardly Heel runs off, as always. So that's a storyline going on with that. So then after that, they walked into the back, and they was talking about what they plan on doing. I was trying to pay attention, but I really didn't catch what they were saying. So then they cut to Kenny Omega and Don. They didn't show him, but they did show the bus. The bus was chilling outside. They've been chilling the whole time. So after that, we get to the main event scene. Now, remember what I said I was going to talk about. I want to talk about this. I'm going to probably need a good 5 to 10 minutes to talk about this. Might not be that long, but I want to talk about this right here. Now, let's be real, y'all. The main event that you seen tonight on, or yesterday on Impact, you would never get that in any wrestling corporation, mainstream wrestling corporation, period. You're not. You're just not going to get what you witnessed. 4 brothers in the main event scene, in the main event, you're not. I'm talking about in the main event scene. I'm not talking about no freaking tag team. I'm not talking about no mid card. I'm talking about the main event scene. I'm pretty sure when they put the title on Rick Swann, he went to management and said this. He said, listen, if you put me in the main event, he said, let the brothers come on with me. I want the brothers to be in the main event scene. Since y'all say y'all about diversity, y'all just think I'm not just finna be your token Negro with the title. You're gonna have all the brothers in the ring with me, and I gotta give Impact all the props on the planet because this main event was great. I don't care what people say online. People can talk about this show is trash. They can say what the heck they want. Most of them, you know how they get down. But I want to tell you right now, for me, that main event was good. Chris Bay, Moose, Willie Mack, and Rick Swann did a great job in this main event. Like I said, I'm proud of them that they said, look, we're going to allow the brothers to be in the main event scene. That's what I'm glad about. When they say representation matters, look, this is what when we black wrestling fans ask for this all the time. This is what we want. We want a shot, and when we get that opportunity, we don't want it to be dealing with where it's a stereotypical reason why we in there. No, you put us in the main event scene. You let us go. You let us do us. You don't limit us like how they doing with the cats over in WWE. Because it's just too much shucking and jiving going on in WWE land. And like I say, in AEW right now, like I say, I'm glad we in AEW, but it's a lot of work that needs to be done when it comes to us. I know they're trying to push Will Hobbs and everything, but it's still a lot of work that needs to be done over in AEW. Impact, they got it right. And I'm glad that they did this. Because you ain't getting this nowhere else. You're not. You ain't getting this. You ain't getting 4 brothers in the main event scene. You're not getting it. Or vice versa, 4 sisters. You're not going to get it. Let's just keep it a buck. You ain't going to hear this on no other wrestling podcast, period. People just going to gloss over that. They going to be like, wait a minute. 4 black dudes in the main event scene? How did that happen? That's because you're not used to seeing it. Impact said, look, man, we're going to give them a chance. We're going to do it. And I'm glad that they decided to do that. because now who knows what possibilities that we're gonna get. Because at Final Resolution, we're getting Chris Bay versus Rick Swann for the Impact World Heavyweight Championship, and I'm so glad that that match is gonna take place. Because if you notice in this match that we had in the main event, they did kind of connect, but they really didn't. It was basically Moose, Chris Bay, Moose, Willie Mack, Moose, Rick Swann. Big Bay and Rick, they kind of had a little, contact, but not as much because they didn't kind of want to give away the match. But I thought this main event was great. I'm serious. I thought the four brothers did their thing. That's my personal opinion. I think they did a great job. I'm very glad the Impact decided to, go against the grain. I know a lot of people don't like it. I know a lot of people say the Impact. I seen this one cat. Matter of fact, if you watching my video, this dude named Skull, I saw what he said. He said that this show was garbage. He said the only reason he tuned in was because of what Kenny Omega and them did, which I'm about to talk about in a minute. But he said the show was trash. Listen, look, the show wasn't the best, but like I said, I thought it was a decent show. And the main event was good. That's me. Like I said, you ain't gonna get this nowhere else. You're not. I'm telling you right now, you're not. You ain't getting this in no WWE. You ain't getting this in no NXT. AEW, they barely. I mean, we on the show, but like I said, it's like we there, but we ain't there yet. You know what I mean? You got cats like Big Shorty Lee, who's 0-17. You got cats like Private Party, who messing around with Matt Hardy. You got cats like Sean Dean, who ain't done that yet. I know they trying with what's the girl name, Jade or something like that. But and then Brandy and all them. But like I said, I know that, and they tried with Big Swole and everything. Look, let me tell you something, man. It's gonna take a whole lot more than just what they do. It's like you got to put forth the effort, and the cats themselves gonna have to get better in the ring. Let's just keep it a buck. I ain't stupid. The cats names that I name, all of them got to get better in the ring. Every single one of them. Every single one of them. You know what I mean? But what Impact did right here, this was great. Main event was great. I ain't got an issue with it. I'm glad they did it. Because you ain't getting this, I'm telling you. You were not getting this in any other mainstream wrestling promotion in America, period. You just not. You ain't. Because they ain't going to allow it. But this was great. So, next, we get to what everybody was tuning in to the show. What was everybody tuning in? They wanted to hear what Don Callis and Kenny Omega had to say. Josh Matthews gets on the bus. Now, actually, before he got on the bus, there was some clown that was standing at the exit, and he had a list. Rick Swann tried to walk out, and dude looked at him like he was strange. He said, you can't enter. He said, you got to be on the list. Like, man, come on, man. He said, I told you, man, that fool, look, he still running around with that face. He said, I'm not. He said, no. He ain't talking about Moose. We talk about Kenny Omega. He said, we said, what this clown want? So then Josh Matthews come walking up, talk about, yes, Joshua Matthews. He said, oh, you're on the list. So Rick Swann pretty much was stuck in there. He couldn't do nothing about it. So now that's telling me that we're going to get Kenny versus Rick Swann somewhere down the line. Don't know when that's going to be. But they was teasing it right there to let you know what's going to happen. Now, everybody know Rick Swann ain't beat Kenny Omega when they face each other. Let's just keep it a buck. I ain't stupid. You know it's not going to happen. But everybody going to, I just want to see, is the match going to be good? That's it. Because we know, Rick Swann ain't beating Kenny Omega when they face each other. So anyway, Josh Matthews gets on the bus. He started looking for him. They ain't nowhere in sight. Next thing you know, Don Callis and Kenny Omega comes out the woodwork. They doing their heel thing. They talking and clowning and everything. So they sit down. And I learned some history today that I never knew. Don Callis said, Josh said, he said, you two are family, right? And Don Callis said, yes. He said, this goes back 27 years. He said, you know who the Golden Sheik is, the Iron Sheik? And I'm like, yeah. He said, well, that's Kenny Omega's uncle. Like, what? That man trained me when I wanted to become a professional wrestler. And I've been hanging with this 10-year-old dude I've been hanging with this dude since he was 10 years old. Oh, and before they did all that, they took the title, and the title still had John Moxley's nameplate on it. Well, they decided to take it off live on Impact. So then Kenny started saying something. He started saying, when I got a problem with you, Josh, he said, let me be the interview. So he started asking him a whole lot of crazy questions and all this thing. And they just went on lollygagging, talking about all this stuff, talking about what they here for, and this is about a huge moment in wrestling. They said they're not here to make movements, they're not here to do all this. He said we're here for history. And who knows, since I'm like a traveler, he said I've been over here, I've been to New Japan, I've been to Mexico, I've been over there, I've been here, I've been all this stuff. He said, well, since I like to travel, who knows? Maybe what you guys got a good division, Impact Champion, all that stuff. Maybe I want to add more titles to my collection. Pretty much let you know he finna try to beat everybody in Impact. So, but then they said we're gonna be on AEW, and we got an even bigger announcement tomorrow night. Well, actually, it's tonight because it's morning right now, Wednesday morning, but Wednesday night on Dynamite. So that segment was great. They knocked it out of the park. Oh, and Kenny said his famous line that he said when he was back in New Japan when he was playing his hero role. I forgot what that line was because I didn't write it down. But he said that line that he said he'd been wanting to say for a long time. And I'm glad, like I said, the segment was great. Like I said, you had two back-to-back great segments. You had the four brothers going at it. Then you ended with Kenny Omega, Don Callis sitting down with Josh Matthews. Like I say, it was an okay show, but the ending made the show great in my opinion. Now, like I said, it's probably a whole lot of people in the community that probably couldn't stand what they watched. But it is what it is because you know how certain people feel when it comes to us having titles. I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm going to keep it like that. That's all I'm going to say. But like I said, I'm glad that Impact decided to take a chance on having us in the main event scene. I'm talking about what you get over in WWE. You get us with 24/7 titles looking like retards all day. You get us holding tag team titles and doing absolutely nothing with it. You get us shucking and jiving, throwing pancakes and twerking all the time. You get us looking completely stupid and sounding dumb every day over there in WWE land. Impact, you don't get that. And I'm glad that they decided to do that. So shout out to Impact on what they did tonight. Salute to them. I'm going to be tuning in next week to watch, and I'll give you a thorough review, an honest review on the show. Like I said, it wasn't the best show, but I did like what I saw towards the end. That's my honest opinion. So, and I will be watching Final Resolution, and you will get a review. So, I'm going to be back to back to back. So, we got the Dynamite review tomorrow. I think I might do NXT since I did watch the pay-per-view. So we got the NXT review, we got the 8 Dynamite review, and then Saturday night with the Final Resolution day. So that's 3 reviews coming back to back to back. So this your boy Casey Phil King said for life. Y'all know what to do. Get in the comment section. Tell me if you like what you're seeing. If you didn't like what you see, let me know. Like, subscribe. If you're brand new to the channel, holla at me. Y'all know what to do. Y'all can interact with me on Twitter at Beast the Blessing on Twitter. I'm KCFL, aka Marcel on Twitter. This your boy KCFL Wrestling Takes signing out. Holla at me.